Welcome to the Safety and Risk Success podcast with me, Christian Harris. This episode was recorded live at Risk Europe in November 2025, where I spoke with leaders exploring how risk is changing in an AI-driven world. My guest, CJ, is an AI psychology and root ethics strategist and founder of CKC Cares. She works with organizations and senior leaders to understand the human impact of AI and digital disruption. In our chat, we explore why AI should be seen as a mirror of human behavior, the psychological impact of rapid technological change, and what CJ calls the zone of disrupted identity, a space many leaders and teams are already experiencing. We also discuss the difference between surface-level ethics and the deeper human-centered root ethics organizations need, along with practical advice for staying grounded, trusted, and effective in the age of AI. If you see AI as just a technology issue, this conversation will challenge that view and bring the focus back to people. Here's my conversation with CJ, live from Risk Europe 2025.
Welcome to the Safety and Risk Success podcast with Christian Harris. We believe that proactive safety and risk management powers business performance. Each week, we explore this theme, sharing guests, stories, insights, trends, hints, and tips. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms, and video versions are available on YouTube. But for now, let's join the conversation with Christian.
CJ, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Christian.
How are you enjoying Risk Europe?
I love it. It's just so vibrant, so much going on. It's a great place to be.
Great. And you've got your talk later on?
I do. Yes. Deep fakes, data, and I want to say
something else.
Control, data control, digital control.
Okay, perfect. So let's get into some of that stuff then. So you described AI as a mirror rather than a machine. What did you mean by that when you said that?
So, of course, if we think about a container, until we put something in it, it's just a container.
Yep.
And so we're building AI and what it looks like. And so, of course, it becomes a mirror of our biases, of our challenges and our opportunities.
Yeah.
And so that's, a big part of what it means. We have many different versions of ourselves and physical and online. And so in that digital twin self, we can have numerous versions of ourselves on WhatsApp, on Facebook, on LinkedIn.
Depending on who we're speaking to.
Depending on who we're speaking to. So it becomes a mirror of who we are when we are interacting with these tools, or if we create the tools. It does become quite a bit of a mirror of the person using it.
Yeah.
You can produce a report through AI, and how you interpret it would actually be a mirror.
Yeah, and how you prompt it, and
exactly.
ChatGPT and those large language models kind of come back with the way you've asked questions before, and they tailor the
It's about patterns, right? They're smart because they're smart at identifying patterns, right? And so if you've engaged with the AI tool, then of course it's going to recognize certain patterns. And so if your way of communicating with it is a certain way, it will reflect that in its outputs.
Yeah. Smart or too smart?
Very smart.
Good answer. You should be a politician.
No. That's one job, not for me.
That's definitely a job, not to do.
I'm too honest for that.
So how could we, bearing in mind it's reflecting back, how can we use those feedback loops to better improve what we're doing and how we're leveraging AI?
Yeah, I don't see us moving away from using AI and chatbots. This is something that's going to continue as, in 2026 and beyond. So it's really about us being able to be critical, nuanced in the way that we engage with AI. Yes, we may ask it to do something for us. I think we need to be 2 levels above it. Yeah. We need to be able to have the expertise to recognize where it may be incorrect, hallucination. So it may, give us the wrong information, or it can be chippy and give you just a little bit and tell you go ahead and do the rest, right? Yeah. And so we have to have enough knowledge to be able to work with those tools. If not, then it's unethical, right? Yeah. The outputs, the decisions, how we engage with it and how we impact other people. So it's very much about how we show up in the use of it and be human in that show up.
Yeah. Somebody I saw was talking about how AI is very good at sort of the middle section of something, but it's not so good at actually starting off with the inspiration and the ideation.
Well, that's us.
Yeah,
we're the creators.
Exactly. And then closing that loop at the end and finishing it all off and having the
Exactly.
rational sense and the emotive intelligence. And
I mean, if we do it that way, to me, it's the safest way, right? If we start off with our idea, our creativity, and then we use the tool in a way that it can take our imagination to another level, or it can strengthen some of the themes that we're considering, but we still need the human oversight. What I would encourage people to do is to go back and challenge the AI that they're using.
Yeah.
Use multiple. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe you use ChatGPT, use Claude, use Gemini.
They all come up with different thoughts.
But each are biased, right? Each have their way of doing it. That's how they've been designed by their makers, right? And so if you use them across, you're able to have more nuanced, more critical outputs from that AI tool.
Perfect. Talk to me about the zone of disrupted identity.
Yeah, so a key part of the work that I do with CK Secures is creating frameworks that really speak to the human side of digital transformation. And I call it human transformation, right? And so Zone of Disrupted Identity, or ZDI, is a space of uncertainty, a space of VUCA, if you wish. Have you ever heard of VMCA, VUCA?
No, I don't think so.
Well, it was formed in 1950s, around the Cold War. Volatility, unknown, complexities, and ambiguity.
Okay,
And so we're in that space right now, right? And we just don't know. But guess what? We never actually had all the answers before. This is a reminder that we are human.
Yes.
And so we have to consider that, all of the, what I call headline ethics, the hype is around AI psychosis. But psychosis is being extreme, right? So let's say maybe 10%. Maybe going through that. What about the other 90% of humanity that's going through some level of change when it comes to AI? Whether it's someone at a senior level, a leadership, a decision maker of any sort that has decision-making freeze, that is just tired, fatigued around data protection. And now we're bringing in AI, and then right behind it, we have robotics. And wait, come on. This is where my book, The Digital Polycrisis, comes into play. I wrote it in 2023 with no idea that things would move so quickly as it has. Now we're moving into 2026, and we've already seen a number of things in the book that have come to fruition. But the zone of disrupted identity, it brings it from the book macro of digital polycrisis to something that's a little bit more intimate that we understand as a person. And that is the zone of disrupted identity.
Yeah, nice.
Then we can name it. We can address it.
Yes, very good point. Very quite. What would be some of the kind of early warning signs then that somebody's struggling with the pace of change?
Yes. I mean, some people will outright say, I feel overwhelmed, for instance, or I'm confused. But there are lots of people who won't say that they're struggling, right? Those are the ones we want to put a lot of attention to. A lot of the work that we do at CKC Cares and TLC Group, which is my other business, is around psychological safety, trauma-informed decision-making, leadership, coaching, advising. That's an important thing, I think, that leaders need to consider. And so when you have someone, we can't assume that anyone is at any level of confidence and comfort in this space. You could be a genius, you could be an expert in many different areas, but still not be confident in this space of AI and so much development in this space. And so I think that having that empathy, having an understanding that we need to meet people where they are, leaders that are practicing ethics, not just saying they're ethical. And so CKC Cares, we have EMP leadership, which is it's ethical leadership in practice or in action. And so EMP is spelled EAMP, which is a little bizarre. E is for empathy. A is for authenticity and adaptability. And it's for mindfulness, is bring it back, center self, right? As a leader, we have to do that. So we're making decisions that impact other people. And then P, presence and purpose. And can we argue those are definitely characteristics of an ethical leader, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think if you were ticking all those boxes in any facet of life, you would be in a good spot, right?
Exactly. We need more of that. We need to connect more. If you cut your skin, if I cut mine, there's going to be red. I'm still waiting for purple blood, but they haven't started creating it yet.
You never know.
You never know.
AI can do all sorts of crazy things.
I'm waiting.
So how well are we doing currently at this? I mean, it's obviously a rapidly evolving world. The pace of the change is phenomenal, unprecedented in many senses. That feels quite overwhelming, doesn't it, in many ways? So how well are people doing at staying on top of this?
I mean, I am one to lean on the glass half full, right? So I think depending on who you talk to, they will have a different response, right? I'm a realist, and so I think that there's lots of work to be done when it comes to supporting people. I talk about human scaffolding. So when we think of a scaffold in construction, right? It's to hold people up, but not permanent. It's about empowering people. So awareness is important. Making sure that people are aware of what's going on. But individuals have to be accountable for their own understanding in this space. There's a lot of conversation going around, but there are tons of people who, I don't know anything about AI. I don't know anything. But we're using it in our devices.
People don't know that, do they?
They don't know that. So this is where transparency is so important. And because there's so many incidents where transparency isn't a top priority, we have to be aware for ourselves and for our families, right? And so I think that it's really important that people pay attention. They're building awareness. They're agile. This is the day and age to be able to pivot. And I have a dance that I did where I said agile, right? You gotta move. And we have to moving in this space. So let's not marry jobs and actually invest in our passions, so that if there is a shift in the work that we're doing, we already can lean on so many other aspects of who we are that we can pivot or move into another.
Yeah. And the ability to do that now, set up your own business, for example, has never been easier to do that in the sense of all this technology you can leverage and empower yourself to get ahead.
Yeah. And I mean, again, if we really pause and look at society, right, there are so many individuals that are in jobs and industries that they're not passionate about, right? And so we can turn this into an opportunity. What do you want to do? How do you see your life, right? What do you want to do next? Because the reality is either we take control wherever we can now, or we will come to a time where, yes, we may get, we may have to pivot. We may be forced to make a decision. And so this is about 2026, a season of clarity, right? That's what we talk about at Suitcase and Cares. This is the time that we need to learn more. We need to be honest with who we are. And we need to have a lot of fun, right? The childlike wonder is a key part that many leaders and many professionals have lost it in compliance, in so many other things. Now we need to, of course, make sure that compliance is breathable.
And it's not too late. That wave of AI, that's that massive tsunami, we're not already standing on the beach and it's about to go over us. We've still got time to get on top of this?
I mean, I think if you want to call it a tsunami, that tsunami is very long, right? We've got so much development that's happening, right? And lots of it's not going to happen just like that, right? And so it's a matter of where do you want to get in, right? Do you want to start right away? Do you want to be a laggard? And so it really has to do with when do you want to get on the bandwagon, so to speak. And what's important is that we choose to do it so that we can find our comfort.
For the right reasons,
And so instead of waiting and ignoring what's happening, when I teach, I like to go behind behind the flipboard or something of that sort. I say, is AI going yet? Right? It's never going, right? It's here. The investment that's in it, right? It's too much now, right? And so the reality is, where do you want to fit in? The sooner you start learning more about it, training more, just having that awareness that you can make better decisions, the stronger and more prepared you'll be to be agile. And so one of the services that we offer at CKC Cares is the Authority Line. And so we offer private tutorial for individuals, whether it's individuals considering job change, career, they're not so sure about where things are going, but also leaders who have that freeze, they're concerned, or investors. Investors need to know more about AI as well, right? Because many people would like to be ethical. And so knowing what you're investing in is important. And so through the Clarity Line, we offer that one-to-one private exclusive training. No one needs to know, and it's wherever you are. Not everybody needs modules on what is AI all the way up to right. We need to get straight to the point because I need to make a decision or I need to have a strategy to deal with my business. And so we offer that as well as training, coaching, and consulting for industry information. So I think what's important is, again, that we align what we do in our businesses with the culture, with the people, and keep it breathable because things are going to continue to change. Regulation's going to change. Regulation is no joke. We see the fines, right? Yep. And so we have to always keep in the back of our mind that could change when something else comes up, right? And that's where compliance and risk management looks different.
Yeah. And the regulatory piece is really interesting because it's lagging behind the actual movement in the technology. But at some point, as you say, there could be this seismic shift.
Of course.
And that could potentially keep people.
And it's not could be. Yeah. It will. I mean, they will have to make a decision. Look at what we're seeing in the media, right? All of the, and especially when you talk about human rights, when you talk data protection, when you talk about, certain aspects of AI ethics, we're talking at the core, the foundation is human rights, right? And so the law doesn't play when it comes to human rights. Yeah. And so they will, there will be lots of changes and shifts. And we need to be prepared as leaders, as business owners, and as business leaders and decision makers, I should say. Yes, and SMEs, right? Yep. The business leaders of small businesses, they're not exempt because they're businesses, right?
Exactly.
If you're using the tools, you have to train your staff, you have to have policy, and you have to build awareness into your day-to-day.
Yeah, and we're all using the tools, as you said. Last couple of questions then. One myth about AI or AI ethics that you'd like to debunk?
Well, I'd like to mention briefly about headline versus root ethics. Okay. So often we talk about ethics just generally, right? But I believe that there are sort of surface level ethics. And then in this space, we need to be digging a little bit deeper. So a great example is, as I mentioned, about the AI psychosis. So that would be at the top headlines, top exciting news, right? But we can't ignore the fact that it's a deeper issue that's going on with AIs and psychology. And AI psychology is really how we are dealing with these things, right? And so we lose the human pulse. We ignore how humans are feeling when we focus on that 10%, right? Yeah. We focus on psychosis and we don't have a solution of support for everybody. And so I think that one thing that we absolutely need to debunk is it's a one-size-fits-all, because it absolutely isn't. It's not AI is a blanket word. No. What part of AI are we talking about, right? Like, what area? And the same with that. I want to work in AI. What part of it? Back in the day, that wasn't a quick one, right? Yeah. Oh, great. You can fit in wherever. Yeah. Now we want to be more specific. And a great way to enter AI, I think, Christian, is to really lean on the expertise you have already. Yep. Don't try to fully reinvent the wheel. Yep. Not everybody has to be an AI expert. No. You need enough to be able to make the right decisions and to survive in digital disruption.
Yeah. And speaking of digital disruption, then what would be a piece of advice for someone who's joining us today, who's a leader of a business? What practical thing could they go away and do to sort of be in that right position?
I guess I would be a little cheeky to say be more human. But you know what I will say? Humanity by design and default. Just like we have privacy, security by design and default, ethics by
safety by design,
safety by we need to build it into every aspect of how we're making decisions in this space. I think it's important that people, again, they're agile. They're open to change, One thing that's consistent, I think, I might be wrong, but 75 years is a new era? Things change. Yep. And we're used to that wave, right? And then we talk about disruption. A woman that's pregnant, there may be disruption to her body, right? But it's a beautiful disruption. Yep. So we have the power to turn this into something positive. It just depends on how honest we are of what that looks like and how we fit in the changes that are happening. So don't be afraid of disruption. Smile, go into 2026, and let's go into the season of clarity. Your Lord.
Fantastic. Great advice to finish on. If this has interested people, if they'd like to learn more, what's the best way to connect with you? Is it LinkedIn, for example?
LinkedIn, for sure. ckccares.com. And there you can send an email, you'll send a message straight from the platform. Again, we offer coaching and consulting, advisory. a data report, data analysis report that helps you to decide how you want to pivot or strategize, looking at your competitor, looking at the industry. So there are numerous ways that we can support. And again, like I said, have it your way. It's about customization and supporting people where they are. So LinkedIn definitely, as well as the website, I think are the two easiest.
Fantastic. CJ, thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.
Great to meet you.
Likewise.
Thanks for joining us on the Safety and Risk Success podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please hit follow and do share on social media. Does anyone you know spring to mind as a great guest, even yourself? If so, please contact us on podcast@slipsafety.co.uk. See you next week for another episode.